an author who educates people about female genital mutilation and worked to end FGM in Sierra Leone and the United States. In 2004, Dr. Smart founded what is it called?
Service in
Wildflowers. So it's SWF, International, a Los Angeles-based NGO that raised awareness about FGM through presentations for students, immigrants, and socially conscious groups. She worked directly in rural areas of Sierra Leone together with SWF partners, protecting children and women at risk of FGM. A proud seroptomist and enthusiast volunteer in both African and Romanian communities. Dr. Nina Smart was chosen as 2016 Woman of the Year for her non-profit work by the Senator Mendoza of California and honored by the United States Congress. She serves as International Advocacy Chair for Seroptomy International and is a delegate to the United Nations. You already talked about it, and our book is called White Flower. The true story.
Good morning. I'm very happy to share my story with you today in honor of International Day of the Girl Child, which is actually this Friday on October 11, but we are starting the celebration now. It was 1991 in Sierra Leone. I was there against my wishes. I should have been in Romania in medical school. I won a scholarship following my father's footsteps, but instead I was in the line of fear. Yes, the line of fear. I was waiting to be initiated into the female secret society, the Bondo, because I was Romanian. And I spent my teenage years with my father, who was a diplomat in Nigeria. I missed going to the Bondo and being initiated like most girls in Sierra Leone. Now, instead of allowing me to go to university in Romania, he wanted me to become more African. He believed that going through the initiation will make me African. My father had paid the higher than the price the women quarters asked for because he wanted me to be fixed properly. You cut deep, he said, so I don't shame my family. He really wanted to make me African. But silence and secrets was not the way to force me to embrace my African roots. There was a lot of fear, and nobody wanted to break the silence and speak about what they had endured during the initiation. When I asked about my Christian friends who had disappeared, I was told to keep quiet, that I will know once I go through it myself, if I survived. In fact, they were very curious to see if a Romanian person was going to survive this ritual, so I planned my escape. My father was very wealthy, and everyone knew who he was. Escaping was dangerous. If I got caught, I could get killed. I got caught. It was traumatic. Key political figures intervened, and I was allowed to board the plane simply because I was of Romanian origin. The president of Sierra Leone himself, my father's good friend, he called to hold the KLM flight for me on that September night. I got on that flight. I survived. When I reached Romania, nobody believed me. My own family did not understand what I was explaining to them, and did no one hear stories about initiation into a women's secret society and having body parts being cut off. They didn't believe that women danced in front of our house in anticipation of kidnapping me. My own Romanian family didn't believe that my father had paid for them to catch and cut me. Again, I was told to keep quiet. The stories just seemed unreal. When I got to the United States, nobody believed me. So I decided to study the secret society of Sierra Leone. I was determined to find out what I had escaped. What exactly fueled that fear? LACC was my first love. Then Cal State LA, then UC Irvine, where I studied sociology. And I finally learned the name of what that women performed during the ritual of initiation, FGM. That is what they were protected with their secrecy. So I decided to break the silence. I started telling everyone about FGM. And because I have an accent, got asked, where are you from? And then I said Romania. And then why are you in the US? And I would say, well, because I escaped FGM. And they would say, what is FGM? And then I would tell them everything about FGM. So for the past 20 years, I have been telling them about FGM. My professors got tired of me talking about it. My grad school friends asked so many questions, and my doctoral research was truly my passion. Sierra Leone is the special case in FGM, and I am very proud to break the silence on this harmful traditional practice. I have embraced my African roots because of the beauty of the culture, because of the wonderful relationships that I have with the many Sierra Leoneans and Nigerians, both on the continent and right here in Los Angeles. Together, we stand firmly against FGM. In closing, I would like to read from my book. For the first time, I heard from an initiated woman the exact details of the fate that would have been mine had I not escaped. They took me, those big women, because my father had paid for them to cut me. I sat across Nene and listened to her speak about what happened to millions of women who are forced to undergo FGM as a ritual of initiation into the female secret society. She said, I was kidnapped together with 2 of my younger sisters and 3 cousins. It was the 6 of us. We did not know why they ran to grab us so fast. We were so afraid. Nobody told us anything. Can you imagine? I was the oldest of them all, almost too old to be initiated. She paused to look away, as if contemplating if she should continue. They took us to the bush. There were other girls there, all of us afraid, not knowing what was going to happen, not understanding why we were there. When we tried to talk, the older women screamed at us to shut up and be quiet. They said they were going to teach us how to be good wives and not talk unless we are spoken to. They were laughing and talking and didn't even pay attention to us. We were all on the ground, jamming to each other like cattle, petrified with fear of the unknown. Before we were kidnapped, it was an ordinary day in our compound in Lunsar. We were cooking and washing pots and laughing. Then everything changed in a few minutes. My stepmother and other women did not protest when they came to take us away. I remember thinking about that. They must have known. In the bush, we were sweating from the heat in mid-November. We were sweating from the fear of what might await us. Then they made us strip us naked so they could paint our bodies with white powder. They said it was a celebration, but we did not believe them. We were hungry and thirsty and afraid. She paused. I bit my lips, holding back my tears. Then it happened to the first girl. They dragged her into their circle so the rest of us could not see what they did. They sang and danced around her, so the silence of the bush was now filled with their voices. They sang louder and louder, and we were shaking and shaking. None of us thought of running away. Monstrous fear took hold of our bodies and mind, and we each awaited our turn. My body was heavy when they dragged me into their circle. I remember they were laughing as they opened my legs wide. I remember they spoke in local, but I was beyond comprehending. 2 of them sat on my chest, and I could vaguely hear the songs they were singing. How could they celebrate such horror? I wanted to die. At first, my body fought against the knife, but there were many, and I was afraid. I was very afraid. The blade sliced deep into my clitoris. I didn't even know it was so juicy till I felt them struggling to cut it off. They sat on my knees so my legs could not kick them. They sat on my breast with their dirty feet pressing down on my arms so the fist could not punch them. They sang while I screamed. I screamed, oh, I screamed till I could scream no more. They danced and sang and I was barely breathing. I don't know why I was still breathing, but I was breathing. I did not faint, so I felt it all, the scraping of the inner lips of my vagina, the removing of my flesh, the gushing of the blood. My hips were floating in my blood, and they danced, and they sang, and I cried. So that is what we're trying to protect our girls from right here. I can tell you that 28 years later, I can still smell the fear. The negative effects of FGM are lifelong. Together, all of us, we must continue to break the silence on FGM. I invite all men to join us in standing against FGM. FGM is not a women's issue. It is a human rights issue. Today, I am Romanian, I'm also Sierra Leonean, and I am American. For a decade, Soroptimist International has offered a platform for us to raise awareness about FGM. Los Angeles City College, University of California, Irvine, African Christian Fellowship at St. James, Creole Descendants United, and many other organizations have opened their doors and their members have listened to things that are very difficult and sensitive. I'm very proud to embrace the beauty, the beautiful part of the Sierra Leonean culture, clothes, food, music, dance, and yet I stand in my truth for the girls who must not even know that they were at risk. Because I escaped FGM, I am dedicated so that others will never have to undergo this practice. A girl's cultural identity is not determined by her genitals. I stand for education, not mutilation. Thank you.
Show the book. You should show that it's there for sale.
It should be.
Water
name,
Flower,
yeah.
the true story of a Romanian girl in Africa, supports a project that break the silence on FGM. Thank you.
Thank you so much.